Hello, anime fans, and welcome to That Anime Podcast for casual anime fanatics. We talk all things anime in a fun and uncensored fashion for your listening pleasure. I'm your host, Jordo. Here with me, as always, my co-hosts, my brothers, Kin, our youngest brother, Brennan, the oldest brother, Colton. Today, we also have a guest. He's been on the show before. He is the Binge Reviewer himself, Jesse. And you can follow him on Instagram, Twitter, wherever, at the Binge Reviewer. So, Brennan, Colton, how are you guys doing today? We'll start with Brennan.
Shit, pretty good. Early morning, how I like it for the podcast. None of that late night shit on a work night.
We were supposed to record late last night, but
Yeah, I was hoping that would fall through, and it did.
Yeah, it
I
fell
was
through.
too. It's going straight to bed.
Yeah, we had a late night last night at a family cousin thing. There was drinking involved, and we figured that the episode would not be good recorded at 1 a.m. a little tipsy. So
Yeah.
Instead, we're recording early morning Saturday. Colton, how you doing today?
Doing good. I mean, about the same as Brennan. I mean, I don't mind these early morning ones too. So
Jesse, thoughts? How you doing, man? What do you think about the early morning recording?
It's not bad. It's one of those where it's like, as long as I'm awake, I don't really care.
Yeah, you're more nocturnal though. You would have preferred the 1 in the morning, huh?
I'm more nocturnal.
He's
real
nodding yes
Yeah.
for those of you that can't see him.
I stay up late, but not as late as him.
Okay, so Brendan, what'd you watch this week?
Not shit, really. I watched this anime. I don't know why. I just picked it. It was like the first one on Crunchyroll when I logged on, like the start watching one. That's just at the top, random.
Just
It
give
was
a
called
shot.
2 Year Eternity. And I watched episode 1.
Oh yeah, it's one of their premiere ones right now.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. And then for whatever reason, when I was watching episode 2, I watched about 10 minutes and I just turned it off.
Shit, so it was good, but not good enough to keep
I
going.
might start it again. You want me to tell you what happened in episode 1 or to give you a...
Yeah.
Synopsis.
What
Basically,
happened in the
there's like
pilot?
there's a narrator narrating it, talking about this like item or this being that's like, I don't really know it. So it like came to Earth and it was like a rock for hundreds of years. Then it was fucking like moss. And then a wolf died on it and it became a wolf. And then that wolf went back to its owner and he like lived with that boy. And then the boy ends up dying and he became the human boy.
Oh, okay. So it's like
So
some
it's like he's still
reincarnation by
learning.
touch
So like
kinda
when he
thing.
became the boy, he would like shit himself and like die of starvation because he didn't know how to like maintain himself. But each time he would like come back to life and he would learn a little bit more. So it's supposed to be
Interesting.
like he's just starting. I'm not sure what the being is yet. So I only went to episode 2. So if anybody's watched past that and thinks I should keep going, let us know.
Very interesting.
Interesting premise though.
So that's the only thing you watched, 2 Year
Yeah, just
Eternity.
one episode, 1.5 episodes of it.
So you
and then
did not
Shield
start
Hero.
Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, I did start Tokyo Revengers. I hit start playing and it started playing the newest one, so I started with episode 5.
What the
And the
hell?
whole time I was like, what's going on? And I was like, it's one of them time traveling movies. I was like, it's going to all connect after a while. And by the end of it, I felt like I kind of got where they were and what was going on. But I just like the whole time I was like, am I supposed to know who these motherfuckers are? And then whenever I went, there wasn't a play next. So I was like, what the hell? So when I exited, I saw I had just watched episode 5.
You gotta go back and rewatch.
Yeah. And that's because you guys watched the account. So it was already updated,
Yep.
which I should have fucking known.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
so I
sucks.
was like, damn, I literally watched the whole thing and I was like paying so much attention because I was like, what the hell am I missing here?
Well,
First question is, why the hell does he have blonde hair when he goes back in time?
He dyes it.
He dyes it?
I
I
mean,
gotta watch
it's-
episode 1.
he
'cause
was
doesn't
obviously more
he doesn't-
fashionable in his youth than he is
It's
present
more
day.
He
like
looks the
that's
same.
a-
I'm talking about the kid who got fired at the comic book store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
guy.
Same
Yeah.
guy.
He looks the same age. He just looks like a completely different person.
I know. That's why I hate his main look in the new show.
Is the
Present
main
day.
look the blonde one or his black haired
The
version?
black-haired one would be the
Black
main
Black hair is
I like the
present
black
day.
haired version.
I don't. It's
The
he looks
blonde
the
hair's
same.
better.
You won't if you go back and watch
Yeah.
it.
I will.
Watch
Shit.
from the
Sequential
beginning.
order.
Just ducked me off that I started there.
It's freaking annoying. That's the only thing I have about that show is the main character style.
What did you watch this week, Colton?
I don't know if you consider it anime. I guess it's really not. It's American, but I watched Invincible on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I've been meaning
basically
to watch
about-
it.
Basically like a Justice League, but dark. Omni-Man, he's basically like Superman. He has a son.
So is it
Called
Amazon
Invincible.
an Amazon original?
Amazon original.
What I want to know is it obviously did they obviously take inspiration from anime and they're trying to ride that wave?
No, definitely not.
So
it's
it's
more
not-
taken like from American superheroes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
essentially. I don't know if you guys have seen The Boys. That's on Amazon.
Yeah, the
I
boys.
have not
It's kind of
watched
the
that
same
yet.
way.
So
yeah.
that is like the most dark version of superheroes. Like it is literally one step off from horror.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Invincible is just like the animated. It's not the same story at all, but it's essentially an animated version of the same thing.
It's
where
not as
just
dark as-
It's like
super
R-rated
dark.
superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
except for
The
unlike
Boys
Deadpool,
is
it's
pretty
not
dark.
funny.
I would say Invincible is really. All the superheroes mean well, except one that you did not think would turn out that way.
Which
I'll say
leads
that.
to the question: is that genre getting overdone already? The modified superhero.
I don't think so because you keep
Because you see
seeing that.
Netflix has
I
that
don't-
Jupiter, that new one with Josh
my
Duhamel in
gosh.
them.
I haven't watched that one, but it is on the list. But
That's what I'm saying. I feel like these things are starting to come out, like these variations of not Marvel and
well,
not
I think that they
DC
know
superhero.
it's popular, so they're pushing them out there.
Well, you remember in 2010, everything was vampires and zombies?
yeah,
Damn,
We are
zombies.
living in the day of the superhero.
Yes, it's what the people want, so it's what they're giving us.
yeah.
Just like The Boys was enough. I don't need like 6 like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kills the novelty whenever everybody's like, let's make superheroes dark though, or how they'd really be behind the scenes.
I think I'd more respect it if they'd start doing like, hey, let's do like a romance something or other with superheroes, where it was actually like
Yeah.
a legitimate romance like television show where it only focused on the kind of
Yeah.
the relationships and stuff.
Shoot, Homelander's romance is pretty sweet.
He's freaking dumb. Freaking dumb.
Oh, that's so stupid.
But yeah, but it's actually pretty good. I liked it. I mean, yeah, he just
Yeah, me and Jordan have been getting it recommended to us by a
yeah.
guy
You
at
keep
work,
seeing
and I
that
want to watch
meme
it because
about
he's watched a lot of
Omni-Man where
ours.
he goes, think, man, think.
Is that what that's from?
Yeah, that's
meme?
from
Yes.
Invincible.
Oh.
And the people are putting like Goku and then like Goku and Broly. And
One
like,
Punch Man,
One Punch Man. You think
Sasuke, Naruto.
Yeah, there's a
Yep.
reason they called me One Punch Man. Goku, think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that meme came from.
Doesn't the main character look like the Flash, kind of? The yellow suit,
Invincible.
like Kid Flash? Yeah, like
Yeah,
he's like
I
yellow
guess
and
you
his
could in a
hair kind of
way.
sticks out.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Jesse, what'd you watch this week?
I'm staying caught up on the Tokyo Revengers. I did a rewatch of Dr. Stone this
Dude,
week, actually.
so good.
Yeah.
Is there a confirmed season 3?
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. They've
Good.
they were super popular with season 1. They did not lose almost any popularity, even with COVID and everything else going on, in season 2 and
I don't
season
like
3.
how it was shorter though.
Well, they didn't have much of a choice.
Well,
on that.
season 2 was perfect timing when it came out because everybody was posting like the only one who can end this virus is this man, and it's Senku.
yeah. No, they legitimately. So this, I've read the manga on that one, and the story for what we got with the Stone Wars in season 2, it has a limit to like if they had gone to the next thing, it would have got them within like 10 chapters of
Okay.
the manga.
The manga.
A and B, it's that next cycle is long.
Okay.
It's not just like one and done. It's like, man, they're gonna bring back like 10 different people, and then they're going to go do a bunch of other things, and it's just not going to stop until they get to the end of this one arc.
Yeah.
And it's like, I bet you the next season is gonna be 24 episodes.
I mean, they're
'Cause they're not gonna
rebuilding a
have a choice.
civilization, so yeah, you got to take your time.
It really is. They've actually they just got done with another arc recently in the manga, and I was sitting there going, man, I don't know how they're gonna do this and not make it one full season,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't seem like something that they should split up, honestly.
Yeah. Well, cool. Anything else you're watching? Did you just rewatch that? Tokyo Revengers. What was that other one? The other one you told us about? The Disciples.
Oh yeah, Kenichi. Kenichi, World's Strongest Disciple. I actually did start watching that again this week, but I've only been like kind of putting that on the background because I've seen
Okay.
that show literally
What's
15
it on again?
times. It's on Hulu.
Hulu.
I think it's also on Funimation too.
I haven't looked for it on Funimation. I'll have to.
So I have been keeping up with Sestive the Rovin Fighter, Tokyo Revengers, and I picked back up on Tokyo Ghoul and finished season 1. And even just saying Tokyo Ghoul makes me think of the song Unravel.
Was it you who sent us that meme of that guy in the shower?
Yeah, I
That was me, that
it's
was
like
me.
one of the most popular ones. It's like a guy who sang it himself though, and everybody uses it
Yeah.
as a. Yeah, we have a TikTok now. It's just at that anime pod. So go follow that shit.
Yeah, we had a video go viral.
We're gonna try to do like one a week.
4,000 views already, guys. Hit it up.
No,
More than that.
not too shabby. Now it's like 4,300.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty
like
good for your
300
first
likes.
post. Other than that, Shield Hero, and obviously we all watched Weathering with You. And I know I'm missing some stuff that I watched, but it's just like, nothing notable other than those things.
Yeah.
I do have some anime updates, 3 of them. It's been a while since I found some stuff, but there's some pretty big things going on. So, did you guys see that one of the animators of MAPPA left and came out and had some shit to say about the company?
Overworked.
So he came out and said that they were being overworked as hell. And he tweeted, MAPPA isn't some goat, Geo greatest of all time. It's just a filthy corporation running behind money, neglecting the health of their employees.
I did see that.
That can't be good for their PR.
I think that's pretty I think that's an industry standard though.
Yeah, no.
I don't think
They're
they're
trying to
stand alone. Mappa's not the only one treating them like shit. I'm
And
fairly
Mappa's
sure.
trying to get on that level of like what's those Tokyo Animation and then-
Bones.
what's the other big one over there?
Toyo.
Toyo Animation and Tokyo. Yeah, those. There's 2 big. There's a lot of them, but Mappa's getting up there, so they're trying to rise fast. So,
And-
but yeah,
But
I can see
he's not
that.
wrong. That's kind of an industry standard. That's,
Yeah, I don't know of
Yeah.
anybody that's like, I
Yeah.
love my job. I'm working only
Exactly.
40 hours. Like, you're working 60 or
You
more.
hear these stories about all these animators like I'm working shit hours, get paid shit. Like I think that's the life there as an animator.
Well, I would say most mangakas talk about how after they finish their series, they're like, man, it's so nice because literally they're working like 80, 90-hour weeks to just draw, not even animate, just draw this stuff.
Yeah, like until you reach like a certain, like if you're the author of a certain anime like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Toriyama.
Shit, Kishimoto nearly worked
Kishimoto,
himself
yeah.
to death. He didn't go on a honeymoon for like 28
Yeah,
years.
but
and
then
he was
finally
working
when
on
it's over, he
Naruto.
gets that recognition, and you know what? He can finally say, "Hey, I'm going to work on my time," and which is basically what he's doing
Yeah.
now.
Which is nice for him.
Yeah, so basically you got to finish a great anime, and then it stays great, and then like, all right, I'm going to start another one, but you do it on your time.
Well, that sucks that that's industry standard. Like, they need to, all the animators out there in Japan, if you're listening to this podcast, which I doubt you are, because you're too busy, if they all came together, I'm not saying they go on like an animator strike, but damn, like, if 98% of the people doing it are complaining about it, but still doing it, nothing's going to change.
It's also, I think, it's culture. Like, it's a Japanese there. You know, you're expected to just get your job done. Like, you don't complain about overtime.
So you're
and
telling
you
me
don't
all
get
the
paid.
anime lifestyle stuff that I watch in Tokyo is all a lie?
They don't get paid overtime.
it's all
You're just
sunshine,
expected to get your job done, too.
No.
Like, it's not...
Like I've read things about like how workplaces in Japan are different. Like you're supposed to show up before your boss,
Not leave before
work till
them.
not leave before them until they leave, and
Some
then you're
places.
sometimes you're even supposed to go take them to dinner afterwards.
Well, it's supposed to do that, like, every night.
Yeah, that's just like that's fucking crazy.
Well, and I would say it's also the fact that the Japanese government isn't really doing much about it.
Hmm.
If they really got on a kick about it and were like, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to enforce some labor laws and we're going to do this.
That
and the
industry
other,
brings in hella money for the government, though, too.
Mhm.
They don't want
Which is
those margins
why-
getting cut into.
they can do whatever they want, and it's really sad because it's like there's been multiple times. I mean, freaking the guy who did what's it called? High School of the Dead. He died.
Oh, yeah. Kentaro Miura.
Yeah.
He also did Berserk, too,
Yeah,
right?
I've been
Sir.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, passed away on May 6th at the age of 54, and you have to wonder, but he wasn't even writing stuff.
Mm-mm.
So
Not
it couldn't have been
anymore.
stress related.
Yeah,
No,
sometimes
that's-
you can just...
So he had
Yeah,
High
other
School of the
health
Dead boob
issues.
physics. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
show?
think so. That's that one.
And then Berserk, that was probably one of my old time OG animes. Even the CGI they came out in the past couple years ago. The animation was shit, but the storyline I loved it. I mean, the movies, you can't beat those original 3 movies.
I haven't seen any of them, but
Gutsy,
made-
man, you can't beat.
I've heard
Guts.
Berserk is good. It's been one that's been tried over and over again.
The movies are on Netflix, or at least one of them is. They used to all 3 be, at least at one point.
And my last update, the Jujutsu Kaisen ending song, Lost in Paradise, has been removed from everything because the band drummer, Kahadio, was arrested on an allegation of fraud. So the band decided to be on hiatus until further notice.
Got too big for his britches.
But we don't know what the fraud was for. I mean, I feel like a drummer, it can't be like, you can't copyright a drum beat. Like,
They took it off of everything?
it's gone.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
all,
it's not on
Yeah.
Apple Music. What
And
the
it kinda
hell?
depends.
it's gone.
If
You
they
cannot
did
find
all
it anywhere.
electronic.
Lost in Paradise. That was their
Yeah.
biggest song ever.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, it's weird.
I bet
So-
you he was fraud in taxes. I bet.
But we have an Instagram
Japan's
video.
pretty big on that shit.
We have an Instagram video of the song. So if you go to our profile at that anime
Like our second
podcast,
video ever.
you can hit that. You can hit that video up. Listen to your favorite song. We still got it.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell Instagram.
And Daka.
So today's episode, this is episode 23, guys. So last week was our episode. We did episode 21 and 22, which
Is that counting
episode
Shield
21
Hero though?
yeah, Shield Hero counts.
Yeah.
Episode
I
21
guess.
was our
It's its own thing.
yeah. So our podcast is officially old enough to drink. 23, we're
Yeah.
getting there. Doing 2 podcasts a week has really helped our number.
That's why we
of
got the
podcast
sake right
output.
here.
What kind of sake is
Way
that?
of the Warrior.
It's just Bushido, the way of the warrior, and I'll drop some knowledge on you guys at the end about this shit.
Go ahead and drop it now.
I was just gonna, I was just gonna tell the people the 8 virtues of Bushido: righteousness, courage, benevolence, respect, integrity, honor, loyalty, and self-control.
Is Bushido like the combat with just a stick?
No, it's just like how a samurai was supposed to live, basically.
Okay.
Like rules. It's like what do they call it in English? Like knights live by it.
The Knight's Code. It's
Chivalry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Japan's version of chivalry.
Okay. Well, chivalry is just simply stating strong. If you're the strong,
it's just
needs
like
to
a
protect the weak.
It's just a code that the knights live by, loosely.
Okay.
Air quotes.
So today's episode 23, we are talking about Makoto Shinkai's Weathering with You, and then the best anime training techniques. So we've all come prepared. We got to start with Weathering with You though, because a lot of ground to cover. So this is Makoto Shinkai, and this is his most recent movie?
Yeah, that I know of, unless he's done like a short of some sort, but like full length it is. I think it's 2019 is when it came out.
Okay.
It's got to
When?
take at least
2019.
two or 3 years to make something like that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
doubt he could have came out with something else full length.
So did you guys watch this in English?
Yep.
I watched it subbed.
Yeah, I watched it dubbed.
Technical difficulties for me made me had to watch it in sub. So
How was the sub?
it was good. I mean, voice actors are on point.
The voice, so I watched it in dub, and the English voice actors were incredible. And I got to pull them up so I can.
Yeah, I've noticed a trend with his movies. Well, I guess mostly, even Garden of Words and then Your Name and this one, like they get relative unknowns. Like when you pull them up, they're not gonna have a lot of credits to their name, like most people.
Mhm.
Hilariously though, Mitsuha from Your Name. That's the actress who does Hinata
Oh, really?
for the adult version of it
Oh.
for English. Because I recognized her voice and went, "Is that who I think that is?" And I went and looked it up. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, cool.
Dang.
Yeah, but you're right. Everybody else is.
Yeah, I like
first or
the
second
ones in
thing.
Weathering with You. I couldn't match them to any
Dang.
other ones off the top of my head just listening to them.
The Japanese voice actor, he was born in 2000.
Yeah, I think they casted pretty
Kotaro
young
Diago.
for what's his name?
And he hasn't been in
Podaka.
very much. His biggest movie is Weathering with You, it looks like.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's more like for these bigger movies, they're trying to get people that aren't been fucking used 1,000 times
I was gonna
right
see
out of
if
the gates.
I was going to see if Hina's
So the-
voice actor is bigger.
So this movie, I can always tell if I'm going to like the English voice acting right away, like the first couple words that come out. And it starts off with the voice actor for Hadoka kind
about
of
the
narrating
girl,
while
yeah.
they show us. What's the
Her.
girl's name again?
Oh shit!
I can't believe none of us can
I'm
remember
about to
this.
say
Yeah.
I'm really bad.
Makoto. Yeah,
Hina.
Hina.
Hina's. I just said it.
Hina.
Hina's the main character.
Yeah.
Female.
So it starts off with Hina in the hospital, and we don't know why, and she sees
No.
these little.
Yeah, Hina. I think it's her mom because it basically says it later.
Yeah, it was her mom, and she follows a ray of light that she sees, the only ray of light in the whole city, to the top of this building where there's a garden with a little red gate.
Torii Gate is what those are
A
called.
Torii gate.
with
Yeah,
two
those
eyes.
things are sick, and the only other thing in my head that makes me think of it is it's also in Your Name.
You know what their significance is? Like in old Japanese, you follow those gates and you keep going, you'll eventually make it to a shrine.
Oh,
That's what they lead to. And so that was a shrine up on that roof.
That's legit.
He's got another movie, Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
Who are you talking about, Makoto?
Yeah. It's
Like
an
a
older
newer
one.
one?
Nah, his newest one is Weathering with You.
We're talking, yeah.
All right, let's stay on Weathering with You. So it starts off, and the English voice actor for Hadoka, incredible.
He seemed
cast.
age appropriate too, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, he
He didn't
did.
seem like a 40-year-old dude voicing a
It was very
16-year-old.
fitting.
Or like a 30-year-old woman trying to voice a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, it was good. So she goes over to the roof, and she walks through it, and then immediately the light hits her, and she gets like sucked up to another realm. I can only assume.
To the sky.
And that's when she becomes the Sunshine Girl.
It's the Sky World.
In other words, she became the sacrifice for mankind and connected to the weather.
Mm-hmm.
What did they call her? The Weather Maiden?
Sunflower.
Yeah.
Sunshine Girl.
Sunshine Girl, I believe, is what they call
But-
it.
Yeah, they were calling her the Weather Maiden too, because there's the Sunshine
Yeah.
Girl and there's like the Rain one too. There was like opposing.
So the Sunshine Girl was like the new age interpretation for society, but like the 1,000-year-old painting that the old guy
Those
was
are
showing them.
all real paintings. Like they're modified in the anime, but like those are actual. Like you can look them up. They're like real paintings from ancient Japanese. Like
Mhm.
the lady standing on the dragon and that shit. So it's got a little bit of history behind it, I guess, or like lore, mythology.
Yeah, they call her the 100% Sunshine Girl.
Yeah. So right away, you know that this movie's going to have a sci-fi element to it, with her getting absorbed and going to a world where there's little fish
Yeah.
watery fish swimming around.
I don't know. I guess the first time I didn't think that it got a little, the first time watching it, which was a while ago, I just remember thinking like everything that kept happening. I was like, shit, I didn't expect that. Or like, it got more wild than I thought it was going to get, realistically and sci-fi way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, legitimately, when we got past the halfway point and we got to that thing that happens with her, I legitimately thought that was going to be the end. I thought that was the end of the movie, and I was
she
like,
gone.
oh.
And I could
Don't
see
be gone,
Makoto
please.
Shinkai doing that, like ending it right there. I was like, that's
Yeah, I just remember thinking the
I'm
first
gonna
time,
get
like,
pissed.
how is this movie gonna end? Because like for a while there, it's just like good shit happening. I'm like,
Mhm.
where's the conflict? Like nothing. Literally, there's no.
yeah, it's like just saving people, having
I know,
sunny
and I was
days.
like, I
It's
guess I'm okay with it. It's been a uplifting movie, but I was like, shit, something's about to turn south.
You know what I like about Makoto Shinkai's movies is that, because we've watched 3 now, or I have, Your Name, Garden of Words, Weathering with You, all of his characters stay true to a Japanese look. Like, they all have dark hair and no hairstyle. Like, it's just the down hairstyle for the guys. The girls wear it up sometimes, wear it down, but nobody has main character hair. Literally, if you think about in the show of this Weathering with You, I think there was only one character that didn't have black hair, and it was the girl that worked with him, the niece.
The
She had
niece,
brown.
her hair was
And
just
she-
like brown
hers
too.
was just like brown,
Yeah,
red.
it's even.
and her uncle,
Her uncle had like dark brown hair.
brown hair.
Yeah,
Nobody
Kisuke.
really had any standout hair.
Yeah, and I like that. It's realistic. And Hadoka and Hina, they just, their names alone, you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna fall in love. But it starts off, he's on a cruise ship.
He's going to Tokyo,
And-
getting off his small ass island.
If I didn't read the synopsis before watching the movie, I wouldn't have known he was a runaway.
I'm thinking he got
Because it
beat.
didn't ever tell us that till like 30 minutes into the movie.
He had band-aids and bruises and shit on his face, so I was wondering if he like was getting abused by his rents.
Yeah, he
You
never
noticed that when
he
he got
never
on when he's on the
says-
boat.
Yeah, they never said why, but he did right when you first meet him. He had band-aids over his face.
I would assume it wasn't abuse just because at the end he was there for another 3 years.
Yeah, he went back.
Yeah,
and he never had those. Like they never showed him in any of that time period with any more bandages on his face.
That's true.
So I'm just assuming he got his butt kicked.
So the
Maybe he was
guy,
bullied.
By some bullies.
Yeah.
so he's on the cruise ship and he goes to look at the rain. He's obsessed with it. Everybody else is going inside and he's like, cool. And he goes and runs up to the bow of the boat. And then a giant dome of water just like dumps onto him. And that's whenever he gets saved by
Kisuke Suga.
Kisuke Suga. And they never even mentioned that was weird. Like, hey,
It's
dude,
not.
There's just like a giant, like,
It's called a cloudburst.
oh, that's a
That's
legit
a
thing.
legitimate thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
I've
not.
seen
It's
that.
not
Oh.
common,
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a
exceedingly
little bit to do
rare.
with
I've
her.
seen some videos of actual real ones where it's just like torrential downpour in one spot.
Yeah, and
Well, remember those two kids in the alleyway too? He was like,
Happened
"Come
to
look
them,
at
too.
this."
Yeah.
I think that one was supposed to be more of an unnatural phenomenon.
Now that one was way
When they're,
unnatural.
like, looking at it.
But that original one looked just like a regular kind of cloudburst because it was literally just a drop in one area and it spread out from there.
Yeah. So Kisuke saves him from going off the boat, I'm assuming. And then he makes Hadoka buy him lunch. And he's like, man, a beer would be great for this.
Says, can I buy this?
And Hadoka's on the run, so he's got no money.
He's been saving up.
I mean, but he's tight on money.
Yeah, but I mean, he did a lot of prep. You know, he had all his spending
he
and
was
finances
planning it
built out.
Because he was staying in places at first until
I
money
think
got
like pod
tight.
hotels probably is what I'm assuming.
Those pod hotels are actually pretty.
Yeah,
cool,
that was pretty
too.
sick. He's got.
Those are
so-
all over Japan right now.
Is that. So he just gets like a little room and it's separated by curtains?
It's basically
No, it's like a little
bed.
pod.
Yeah,
I know, but it was legit. Like, I wonder how much that is because that'd be cool to
Probably
just
like
live in
70, $80 US dollars a night. You
Yeah.
can shower and shit too. You
That's
get a
pretty
little mini
expensive.
Probably
logger.
like 5,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah, it's
You
like-
can watch on YouTube. There's tons of people that blog
It's basically
about
just a
staying
bed
there.
you lay in, and you have internet connection there, and that's about
Yeah, maybe a
If you've
small
got internet
TV.
connection, What else do you need?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have like a shower room, but that's it.
I always appreciate in anime how small the rooms and like how little people have to have. Because here in the States, man, everybody has massive rooms and everything is just more efficient. It feels like they've got like beds, and then their beds are the dressers, and then they've got a desk.
They
and
have
that's
to.
it.
Yeah, they make better use of space because
Yeah.
it's
They
they're
got you
more
so freaking
packed
packed
in.
over there.
Yeah.
So they get off the boat, and Kisuke hands him a business card, and it says, all I saw on it was CEO. And Hadoka's like, yeah, right. This guy's not a CEO.
Well, the
And-
comment he makes about he's like, I can't believe I've been in Tokyo for 5 minutes and I'm getting mooched off of by an adult.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, man. And so he tries staying at hotels at first, right? And they're like not letting him because he doesn't have an ID.
Yeah, he's underage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the pod place, I guess, takes him because the guy doesn't care, he just wants money. And then he can no longer do that because he's running low on money. And so he starts trying to live on the streets. And he's sitting in front of a
It's a little like hostess club, I guess.
yeah, what is that? Like people get rub and tugs in there? What?
I think it may. I don't know if it's like a straight up brothel or if it's just like a host club
Yeah.
where like you just hang out with the girls and shit.
Yeah, it's like a strip. Yeah, brothel.
Because
host
they have
club.
both. I mean,
Yeah, it could have just been escort kind of
yeah,
thing.
you can
Yeah,
like just literally take a guy or girl out on a date and pay for it, pay for them to be your
Okay.
boyfriend, girlfriend. But
Well,
you
he was
probably
squatting in front of that door, and
That's
then
like
that,
Rent a Girlfriend.
I was literally about to
I
say
watched
that.
that. It's a good one.
so the only blonde-haired guy in the whole show, he like kicks him over the trash can. It's like, get
He
out of
tripped
here.
his ass.
And then the gun, he sees a bag fall out of the trash can, and it's a gun. I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, sweet.
I
he
mean,
can pawn
it is
that
having
thing.
it. So we live in America, so it ain't no big deal. But like nobody has a fucking gun in Japan, and if they do, like people get stuck up in Japan and they won't care because they know that shit's probably fake. People don't have guns like they do over here, and it's a big crime to have one.
And they all thought it was a toy gun.
So it's a big deal that he has a gun. Like that's why later on in the movie they're like trying to get his ass.
Okay.
Like it ain't a small matter like here where anybody who wants a gun goes into academy and gets one
as
basically.
long as you're 18, yeah.
Well, and they also revealed that that gun had been used in some crime.
Yeah.
Dang.
So that's
he
why that
finds-
dude thought that even when he pointed it at him, he wasn't scared. He knew it couldn't be fake.
He's
And
like-
Hodaka said too, it's got to be fake.
Yeah. But he said he kept it because he thought it brought him good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, because he
like
got
his
the
lucky
burger
charm.
from Hina,
Yeah.
that double, that
McDonald's.
Big Mac,
Yeah,
the best meal he's had.
Yeah, he's like, this is the best meal I've ever had.
because he's been eating udon and soup for his meals.
Yeah, he got the Big Mac and then he got the job from Kisuke.
Kisuke.
So I mean, yeah, it did bring him luck to some degree.
And the whole time he thought Kisuke and what's that girl's name? Her name is
Mistress.
Yasui or Natsumi.
I don't know why she said whatever you think it is right. Like, who would just automatically think that you're his
Yeah,
niece?
she's like,
You know what I mean? Like, you let him into that.
this is his mistress.
No,
Yeah.
that just made me laugh really hard later in the movie when that happened because I was like, that's a great misunderstanding.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the way she let it on is
Yeah.
like, why would you say it's what you think?
It's exactly what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name. What's her name? Natsumi. Yeah.
Is it Natsumi?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds correct. So that was the first time he met Hina, is the burger offering. And he gets a pretty sweet gig working for Kisuke because he doesn't get paid a lot. We find out he's getting paid 300 yen, but he gets cell phone payment, food, and lodging.
But I found out because when I watched the sub version, it's basically 300 yens, $30 a month.
But he gets free lodging,
pays
cell phone, and food.
It's basically like being somebody's son and working for the family business.
Yeah, it is.
Which it's not a bad deal. I'd take it. That's why
especially in his case, because he should be in high school and shit anyway.
Right.
Yeah, they shouldn't have even hired him at all. So.
Yeah.
That's why he couldn't get a job. He didn't have a student ID or anything like that.
And so his job was basically to write articles about abnormal activities.
Well, he would just write down what he heard, and they would take it and they would write the
Interviews.
articles. Yeah, he would just like transcribe.
Yep. So his first job is to look into the Sunshine Girl, like it's rumored. And so they go meet with a psychic, Natsumi and Hidoka, and she's telling them about how the Sunshine Girl and the Rain are different, and the Sunshine Girl's spirit is like a giant fish in the sky, and then the Rain is a dragon, and their personalities. And Natsumi is like, ooh, that one sounds like me, the dragon one. But that never came.
She said both of them sounded like her.
Yeah, she goes, when they said that they described the Sunshine Girl, she goes, oh, that sounds like me. And then she describes the Dragon Girl, she goes, oh, that sounds like me.
Oh, okay, so I didn't catch that. I thought she just said that to the dragon.
It's just like freaking any of those like star signs things or wherever it like tells you things about yourself. It's like enough good and the bad's like redeemable, so people will be like, yeah, that's me. How'd you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of when. Oh, so fast forward a little bit. Let's get into the juicy stuff. So he's working, life is good, and he sees that blonde guy that pushed him over the trash can in front of the club holding Hina's arm, trying to like persuade her to come in to his, I don't even know what that is, a brothel? Whatever it is.
It looked like one of those love Michelle's.
Yeah.
So.
Which, it has to be something illegal because he thought he was getting chased because he didn't know she was underage.
It tells you, it says, at Kaya Bakura clubs, that young women wear skimpy clothing and entertain older men while serving drinks.
Yeah, I bet he would just get her as like a server.
Yeah.
Which is still super creepy considering how old she is.
Yeah.
Shit, here in fucking America, they'll let you work at Twin Peaks when you're like 15, 16.
I think you got to be 16 to work there.
Still, it's pretty young.
Yeah, it's too
wearing
young.
what they wear.
That's
You know
still
what I mean?
nasty.
But Hidoka saves her. He runs up, grabs her by the arm, and takes off. But he gets caught. And this is when we have the standoff where he's literally pulled out the gun and he's pointing at this guy. And he is unfazed, like Brennan mentioned, which makes sense if the culture there is to think it's just fake because nobody has guns. Because he did
Especially
not flinch
a kid.
at
Where would
all.
a kid fucking get a gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even gangsters have guns.
Yeah. He
Because
pulls
it's not
the
worth
trigger.
the punishment they could get. That's why they literally, like, in Japanese movies, you may think it's dumb, but they literally just square up with hands or swords, like the Yakuza. They don't really use guns. It's not worth it.
Yeah, he fires the gun, and that buys them time because they're shocked. Hina grabs him, and they run away up to that building. They run to that building where the shrine is on top,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And they're just talking there, and this is where he throws the gun down. He
Mhm.
throws it on the ground after she's like, I can't believe you have a gun with you. And he's like, shit, you're right. Why the hell
Shit
did
would
I
have been
keep-"
wild if you blew that dude's freaking head off.
At the end?
No, just like
Oh, yeah.
right then. I don't know where the story would have went after that, though.
Him in jail forever.
At what part did they find out? Was it at this part where she's like,
Yeah,
no,
she's-
they become friends after this.
Yeah, but she shows him on the top of the roof. They go up there, and that's when she prays, and she's like, watch, it'll clear.
Okay.
Yeah, she took him up there to where the pillars were.
So right after the gun incident, she takes him up
Well,
there.
remember, he thought she left, and he like threw the gun and was crying, and then she like walked back up behind him and was like
She says,
being
"You're
friendly.
you're a runaway, aren't you?"
And this is whenever is this when she tells him his age, or is that?
That's on the roof
At her
too.
house.
She
Yeah,
says
it's on the
you
roof.
should respect me because she says she's about to turn 18.
No, I think she said that at her house, actually, because she's looking at the calendar. And she's like, I should be 18 in approximately
She
1
tells him
month.
on the roof though, because he says
Okay.
he's 16.
Yeah, because they were discussing who's older
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, respect me.
Turns out that was a lie.
Yep.
That blew my mind, too. And when he's in the cop car at the end and he realizes that she was
15.
younger than him and she was protecting him, he's like, fuck.
And it puts it a lot more in context, like when she's cooking for her brother and is actually a decent cook at 15. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's like her mom must have been sick for a really long time if she had to learn to do that and get that good at it.
which is also a crazy, like, if your mom dies in the hospital.
I know you don't have any family. Like, how did she ever get, like, to where nobody was checking in on her? Like, the hospital? Like...
Oh, yeah. The hospital would for sure have been like, hey, we're going to take care of you. Here's a foster family.
I know, like, Japan's got better health care, so I don't know what it'd be. You feel like they would, you know, like, here, you'd be left with the bills, probably. If, you know, you have a loved one die.
It's
like,
a movie.
Yeah. I don't want to get into the deep shit.
Yeah. So fast forward again, she's got a power to where she prays.
Yeah, he shows her up at the rooftop.
And they make a little business out of her skill and being able to make sunshine appear and stop the rain temporarily. Because Tokyo is being plagued with perpetual rain. And it makes me think, does it rain in Tokyo a lot?
Yeah, just like in Garden of Words, they do have a season, like monsoon season, where it fucking just rains for like 3 months straight.
I guess
basically.
they are an island, so...
Yeah, and they're also... And legitimately, they weren't joking when they talked about at the end that Tokyo had originally been a swamp until...
Like 1,000 years ago or something?
Like, even now,
not even that, like 200 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Technology and in consequence for, like, you know, the way the world's changed in the last 200 years, it's drained out some, and then the technology made it so that they could build, you know, like... It's kind of like what's it called down here in America?
New Orleans?
Yes, where it's literally built
on piers.
Well, it's built below sea level.
Yeah,
and it's like, the retaining walls that we've got, the tech has gotten so good that it's like
well,
you can hold back quite a bit.
Yeah, everybody's.
But it'll inevitably flood one day.
Oh yeah, if any,
I don't know how many
above
hundreds or thousands of years, but 100% it's
Tokyo.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven it'll one day be underwater. I don't know the timeline on it though.
It'll probably be dead.
Now we definitely got to go.
Yeah,
there.
we'll be dead, but
okay, well,
our kids, maybe.
So Hina is very happy. She's found something that she loves doing, which is like giving people just little victories for bringing them sunshine. She loves making a difference.
They could have made bank off this shit too.
I mean, they were because people were tipping.
Yeah, the first people did, the people at the flea market, but we don't know what she was charging after that.
Yeah. Let's fast forward again. So they're doing this. It kind of comes to a screeching halt after she finds out about the rumor from Natsumi. I think their last customer was
the one on the roof. Well, she went on the roof and did that big for the fireworks, and that was her thing on TV. But I think that made her get a lot more business. So
she didn't want it. Like, she got too big, so she was planning to lay low.
Yeah.
And then their last customer before that TV exposure was Kisuke and his daughter who has asthma. She can't play out in the rain when it's raining because the oxygen level's too low. And that's whenever Natsumi is whispering to her, and we have to assume that she's telling her what she heard about the Weather Maiden.
Yeah.
And that she's a human sacrifice.
He buys her a ring for her birthday.
After asking Nagi, the brother.
Yeah.
He's a player. Yeah, we got to talk about the train part. When
he calls
Nagi's
him senpai.
He's
Senpai.
sitting in the back with his legs crossed, and he's like, see you, girl. And she's like, bye, Nagi. And then at that stop, she gets off, and another girl gets on. And she's like, Nagi. And he's like, oh, hey, I like your hair. And Hadoka looks back, and he's like, this kid's a player.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He's like, can I call you senpai?
Oh, man.
It's rare to have I feel like they always, like, portray the younger siblings in animes to be pretty, like, smart and...
Or button up. They're not
buttoned
very...
up. Yeah, they're never, like, annoying.
Ahead of their time. But they both are. She is for 15, and he is for, like, 10 or 11 or whatever the hell he is.
I think he's 12. Maybe, I don't know.
He's a baller.
Right. Yeah. Older than he is.
But yeah, he tells Hadoka, buy her a ring. And
so we already skipped over, but we already saw Taki, because we saw Taki first. They did the old lady's house that they did the sunshine for.
And I think that was the grandma from...
Yeah, with the boy.
Your name.
No, it was Taki's grandmother.
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah, it was.
Because she said, how's your dad? And in your name, we only see Taki's dad, like, you're going to be late to school.
Yeah, we never saw much of his family.
He just had a different outfit on, but I could tell by the sideburns it was Taki.
When he came back?
Whenever they're at...
Well, he had the watermelon. He was like, thanks for spending time with my grandma at that house. And they're like jumping over the fire and shit.
Yeah, with that boy.
They were in a backyard.
Yeah, that was Taki.
That's Taki.
He wasn't a boy. He was a grown man in his 20s at that point.
Wait, so do we think this is before the end of your name? Or
no, this is whenever they were like, had passed each other in Tokyo.
So they've already started dating more
now?
now?
No, they hadn't started. They hadn't even met each other yet.
Oh, that was him, that boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Taki.
But wait, like,
you
gotta think.
Over my head.
This is before he matched back up with...
They were both living
it
in
has
Tokyo.
To be after.
because when they showed Mitsuha,
Yeah.
she still had the red bracelet back on her head.
She had that at the end, though, at the very end of the movie.
No, they hadn't met yet. I've
Where
dug
but-
into
but
this.
So I know
But
that was the boy.
timeline-wise,
Where was
think about it.
the
Tokyo
girl?
wasn't underwater whenever at the end of Your Name.
I know, but that was 3 years. They could have met any time within that 3-year time frame. Which that's the part that makes me sad is that I know those two are living in a fucking flooded Tokyo.
Is that the grandma he met back when he went back to?
That's just his grandma.
No,
We've
they
never
never
met her.
showed us that grandma in Your
That's
Name.
just Taki's grandmother.
From Your Name.
No,
No.
she was not
No,
in
no,
Your
no.
Name.
But
It's
she
just his
wasn't?
grandmother.
But she wasn't in the movie. But it is Your Name, Taki's
Yes.
grandma.
Yes.
Yes.
At the end credits, it says
Taki's the boy.
Tachibana, voice
Yep.
actor, Mitsuha
Yeah.
Mizuha.
So I
Mizuha.
remember the boy,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when was the girl from Your Name in it?
She sold the ring.
She was
to,
the
to
merchant
Hideko.
that sold the ring.
That's right. God
Yeah.
dang it.
And you know it's her because
Because they cover her face partly, and then they
Well,
find
then it
the
shows
back,
it. It shows the ring.
They show the back.
Her name tag says Miyamizu too.
yeah.
Ah, dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my wife was watching with me and I was like, "Holy shit, it's Taki." And she was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then 10 minutes to go by and then yep, there's Mitsuha. Love cameos. Cuz it is Tokyo. I mean, makes sense that they would be there. But
So
yeah,
you
well, I
don't
guess
think-
we're not sure. We're
So
not
you don't,
sure
You don't
if-
think they met yet?
No, I've seen
I-
some shit that like I didn't come up with this myself. I just watched like the explained on both movies after I had watched them. Like on YouTube, I would just dive in and pretty much it's in agreement that it was during the time that they hadn't like when they walked past each other in the snow,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
around that time frame, like where they just were both living there but hadn't met on the staircase yet.
Okay.
So that means that the end of Your Name
Happens after this.
happens after Tokyo floods.
No, we don't know that because he went back for 3 years, so it started flooding. It could have happened, yeah, in the flooding process, I guess.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's the part that I don't.
I bet you
understand.
I bet you we could look up online and get the true timeline here.
I bet you somebody's.
But-
I mean, I wish he didn't even put him in the movie because now it's like they're fucking got to live in the flooded world,
See,
ruin their
that's true.
ending.
But that's the thing is like I like that because it continues their. The one thing, my one complaint about Your Name was the fact that we didn't get to see them be happy together at the end.
Yeah. And they're not together in this. That's what makes me think that like
Well, and
if
we
he
don't-
was visiting his grandma, maybe she would have been with him.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. For, like Shinkai don't work like that. Yeah, they're together, but we're not gonna show them together.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They could have done like Naruto did for the last, where like the ending credits was like
The wedding.
the wedding,
Yeah.
or just like little cut scenes of them, being together over a course of time.
Yeah.
I just
So
don't
I
think.
guess there was
Taki seemed a little distant too. They both seemed like they were still like had that missing something
Yeah.
in his little time spent there.
And I'm
Mhm.
reading this. I guess there was a cameo of the Garden of Words character in Your Name.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Shit, we're gonna have to go
I have to
find
go
that.
look that up.
I gotta go watch Garden of Words.
Okay, well let's get back to Weathering with You. So let's skip ahead to where we just talked about Nagi told our boy Hodaka buy a ring because her birthday,
That's a
allegedly her
mistake,
18th
too.
birthday is approaching.
Never get a ring, except for one reason. I don't know how it is in Japan though. If it's like a more of a common jewelry piece to buy.
So it's pretty much right after they are at the park that the cops start sniffing around. They're knocking on everybody's door because he goes back to Hina's house and they come to the door and she lies to them. He's not here, but then it's a problem that she's there without parents.
Yeah.
And so now they all have to run away. Kisuke comes in incognito. He tells the kid, the cops are sniffing around. I'm trying to get my daughter back. I can't be hiding you. If I lie, I'm going to get arrested.
Well, and they were treating it like it was an abduction of him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were treating it as a kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gives him a ton of money
Oh yeah.
and wishes him luck. And he acts like he doesn't care, but we find out later he does because he's bawling his eyes out. So they're on the run now, and they run into the same problem that Hodaka was running into at the beginning, where nobody will let them stay there with them because they're all underage and none of them have IDs.
I feel like it's the little brother that's selling them out.
Probably. Yeah.
What do you
Because he's
mean?
so young, it's like, okay, why is this little kid with you? Like, you're obviously not parents. I feel like if it was just them, somebody would be like, oh, maybe one of you could be 18.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the police really just come up to people and say, hey, you got your ID on you?
Yeah.
think in
If you're
Japan?
out past curfew, yes.
I guess Japan does have curfews.
Yeah,
We have them here
they'll
in the
call your
States,
ass out.
too.
Tokyo, yeah.
The police in the street will call out anybody and detain you in these little centers.
Oi, oi, oi.
So Hodaka gets caught by that one cop, and Hina prays like and summons the power of Thor down,
She
and
brings down the lightning.
lightning strikes a giant ambulance, and that takes precedence. So then they use that opportunity to run away. They find a hotel room, and they have basically their last good night together as a family.
They got a nice ass hotel room
Yeah.
somehow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading this the same one you're reading, I guess. It's
like
like
I feel like if they
30,000
fu-
yen, which is $280.
Whoever would have let them stay, I feel like it's like. I felt like it would have been a shitty hotel, not like a prestigious one. Like, yeah, we'll go ahead and let you rats in.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd they get that nice one to get in?
Well,
It's
I mean,
hotel.
look at it from the perspective of all the hotels in the area were full up because of all of the storms and everything. Because people from the lowlands were having to come into,
the shitty ones.
yeah,
got the nice
and so
one.
so the nice one was the only one that had
They're
any
like, all
spots
right, yeah, we
open.
need some money too. So
Pretty much.
Take
Yeah.
it in.
So they end up getting caught after their night of fun. They took baths, the boy bath, and then Hina
Sing
took one by
karaoke.
herself. They ate a ton of food. They wake up in the middle of the night though, and
I don't even know if
Hina
they woke up.
and
They were just
Hadoka
out.
have a conversation, and she asks him if he would like for the rain to stop, and he was like, "Yeah, of course." And then was that the end of that conversation? And
That's
he
when
wakes
she
up.
That's
took
when
off
she-
her
yeah.
her robe and showed him that she was disappearing. Like, you could see
Yeah.
through her.
And we could see it on her arms and her foot, like earlier in the movie,
Yeah.
like she'd have the water.
She's fading.
Yeah, she's about 80% water at that point.
Yeah. And then he ends up falling back asleep, I guess.
Well, they like had the conversation, and then yeah, he tuckered himself out, and then she decided to move on anyways.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
left.
He essentially told her not to. He essentially told her he'd rather have the rain than lose
Mhm.
her. And,
Yeah.
And then she's like, "But I can't be selfish," kind of thing. And
Yeah.
Yeah, she made the right move.
Yeah, so she is gone in the morning, and he wakes up Nagi and frantically, and Nagi's like, I just dreamed that she was floating up into the sky.
Everybody had that dream.
anyone connected to her, yeah.
Yeah. And so, let the cop chasing begins. The cops burst in, they take Nagi into custody, they take Hodaka. Hodaka ends up escaping, so does Nagi. And the chase scene of the detective chasing Hodaka, you know he's serious because he's doing the open palm,
Yeah.
the open palm run.
His hands are not behind him, Naruto
Yes.
style running. He is going
He's-
open palm.
Oh yeah, he's going open
I
palm.
felt like the cop, he didn't fit into the story well because he had the only like fixed hair.
He had the
like,
pompadour.
They had
Yeah,
the pompadour.
people have that hair out in anime. I don't know
It's
why.
just freaking like.
I don't know if
he
people
didn't
have
fit.
it.
Like
in-
everybody looked realistic. Then when I see him, he's like, this guy didn't fit it. I don't know. That's just. Me
But he's a
personally.
detective, and
yeah,
you know, and he's probably from the States. Maybe is that why?
Mm-mm.
probably not.
Yeah, I guess
just
he's
wanted
not.
to draw that guy like that.
Let's get to the standoff. So they
Let's talk about that man's lung capacity, Hadoka.
Yeah,
How far you
freaking
think he fucking ran on
running
those
those
tracks
rails were like.
to
Yeah.
get there? Like
he
5-10
ran far.
miles.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Full on force
Everybody's
gump
just
the
looking
crap
at
out of
him,
that.
Here, that's illegal, and they just don't even stop him. Just
And you know it was far because he wasn't like hauling ass. He was
Yeah.
like literally like jogging. But he had that adrenaline pumping because even whenever he got to the actual building, like
I bet he ran about 4 miles.
a couple miles for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was. I mean, there's no way for us to know,
A
but
cities like that, because everything is vertical instead of like out. I mean, he probably covered a lot of ground, and because he was on a train track, he didn't have lights.
the only reason I say that
stops.
is because Kisuke was able to leave wherever the fuck he lives, drive there,
yeah,
get
beat him.
into that room before he jogged there running from the cops, and he was like on the phone and heard about it.
Yeah.
So you know it had to be decently far.
So that part, whenever the detective, after he escapes, they go visit Kisuke in his flooded home. And Kisuke, why did he start crying? I can't remember what he was saying. Was he trying to act like he didn't care what happened to Hodaka, or he's like he's not here?
No, they made some comment, and it hit close to home with
It
with
reminds
his wife.
him of him. Yeah.
With something about the way him and his wife used to be before she passed, and it kind of like resonated with him, and he could see Hodaka and Hina, and he saw the two of them like as him and his wife, and he was like, oh man.
Yeah. Because he says he reminds me of myself when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and then he said he'd do anything for Hina, and he's felt the same way about his wife who passed. So yeah, he basically said,
Yeah,
"I'm gonna."
the
let
show
you
gets
go."
freaking intense here. So
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. This is when it becomes a wild ride. Like
Yeah.
it was like
I thought so.
when he pointed that gun at Kisuke, I was like, this man's lost his mind.
Yeah. Well, and
He
even
had
just
his
when
ass at
Kisuke grabbed
gunpoint.
him by the arm, and he's like, "What are you doing? You need to calm down." I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna." Because didn't he slap him?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he smacked his ass.
Yeah, he backhanded backhanded Hodoka.
Shit, sometimes you got to. I mean, if you think you're the adult, like, he's acting irrational as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you don't know what's going on, he's definitely acting irrational.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
then
even
like his irrational behavior is what ended up convincing Kisuke that like, shit, he really believes he can save Hina. Maybe this kid's onto something. And so
yeah.
when they pin him down, he tackles the detective off of him. And he's like, go get Hina.
That shit was intense when he was like, why are you going to stand in my way? And he was like,
he's pointing the gun at everybody.
Yeah, and they're like, got 4
I'm getting
guns
chills
on him.
just thinking about when he pointed the gun at everybody. I was like, dude, if this turns into a bloodbath movie, this will be shocking.
The whole thing from him running, getting on the moped, getting there, and then running up the stairs was all like pretty intense.
It was.
He like jumps out and the rest of the stairs falls through
I
right
forgot
away.
what's her name.
You got the Radwimps playing their legendary music.
Yeah, we didn't mention what's her name helping him on the moped.
Natsume.
Yeah.
Honorary mention to her. She did help him.
Yeah, she's like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a motorcycle cop.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're not going to let you do that after
Yeah.
you just got me to escape.
I don't think they're going to hire you now.
Yeah. But yeah, she kind of was the unsung hero too. So he goes up on the roof, and pretty much right when he walks through the gate,
Shoots into the sky.
yeah, or he like passes out, or he enters that other world. And it's the Radwimp music again.
Got some Kingdom Hearts falling action
Yep.
from the sky.
So he finally gets to where Hina is, and it looks like she's being consumed alive by these little like water fish, and has like basically given up the will to live. But then she hears him calling out for her. She stands up. She has to end up jumping off of the little plane
Patch
that
of
she's
grass.
on and grabbing his hand. But then they lose each other again. And so it cuts away from that, and you're like, did they make it back? And then finally they show us that they're laying on the top of the roof together. And it's raining again, I believe. And so they're back. Our boy has to wait 3 years because he does end up getting arrested,
He does
taken
end up
back
getting some
home.
probation.
Yeah.
So he bides his time.
No, it's actually a very light penalty, I hear, for like for having a gun, firing a gun, and all the shit he did.
He was underage.
Yeah. It's not a horrible shit.
And
It's
he
pretty
did bring
good-
back Hina.
Yeah, pretty good deal, I think.
So at the end, he's riding back. He hasn't spoken to Hina at all.
She doesn't
is
have a
what it
cell
sounds
phone
like.
for some reason, he said.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I don't get that.
And
Well, I
he
mean,
sees
she's had
her.
no family. How does she have the money for a cell phone?
Sure change.
Yeah, maybe. So he sees her and he like gasps, and it's like that same place where she gets carried away the first time, and cueing the end music. That they do the same thing in Your Name. Like they see each other, they hug, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
You think they made the right choice, or you think that was selfish as hell? But it kind of defines like young love. I feel like that's something like a 16, 17,
Yeah.
18-year-old, they would make that decision like
I
for
think
the good
I
of
would-
themselves.
Eventually, it's
Seriously.
going to happen
What?
in Tokyo anyway.
I think I would make that decision too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's not wrong. It's like they'd already said that this was something they talked about it a couple times with the shrine dude at the beginning, where he was like, they say it's unprecedented rain. What have we been keeping track of for like maybe 100 years, maybe 150?
Yeah.
We've been around for thousands, and it's like
it's going to
it's
happen.
gone back to
eventually
where it
anyway.
was.
just
Yeah.
returning to the mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I legitimately was like, yeah, no, I would have made the exact same choice, because it kind of puts it into context at the end. You kind of see that legitimately it wasn't just technology, at least in this universe, that caused Tokyo to rise. It was them literally sacrificing people to keep the rain from being that bad.
Yeah.
They had decided that was worth it to keep Tokyo from being underwater.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough though. I don't know. Maybe she should have just sacrificed
I
herself.
think that for this movie,
She did.
it could have
No,
gone.
she
back
didn't.
and
She
got
came
her.
back, and that's why Tokyo
Yeah.
I
flooded.
don't know, man. Did nobody else get like super choked up when she was on the cloud? She had the ring on her finger and it just slipped off of her.
Oh yeah, that sucked. And he found it outside the
yeah,
complex.
she's like crying her eyes out. I'm like, bro, like knowing that was what was happening, I couldn't have left her up there.
It's a different ending than like Your Name. It's more bittersweet because yeah, they did end up together, but yeah, they fucked the world. They fucked Japan over basically.
Well, it's
So
gonna
at the
happen.
same
Yeah,
time.
like you said, it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I mean
but-
it's.
and you can't blame them. Like nobody else knew it. Was
I don't know if it's a
actually their
conflicting
fault.
ending, but
This ending,
There's
I
definitely
feel like
two sides to
coulda-
it.
This movie was unique from Your Name because to me, it could have gone either way. Whereas in
Yeah.
Your Name, if they did not find each other at the end, it
Yeah,
would
it
have
would've
ruined
sucked.
the movie. For this movie specifically,
yeah, she could have
if
just died.
if he wasn't able to bring her back, even just him seeing her on the island, if he did miss, like, couldn't bring her back, but he tried, I would have still liked the movie just as much.
Yeah, because then he could just have to live with the acceptance of like,
Yeah,
she
she
did it for the
sacrificed
good.
herself. It was her
You know what I mean?
choice.
I couldn't have. Like,
Yeah.
that would have knocked off at least 2.5 full points off my rating
Yeah.
of this movie.
I mean, it's this ending I didn't think of though. Like so I appreciate that. They're like, yeah, they got together, but there's catch 22. Like you flooded the whole country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Choices have
For
consequences.
your love, y'all better get married, or there's gonna be some real beef.
Yeah. But before he goes and sees her, he goes and sees everybody else. So he goes and sees Kisuke.
Yeah, he's working at like
he's got an office. The
yeah.
cat's fat as hell now.
Acts
The
just
cat
like
was-
him.
Rain,
Yeah.
the cat named Rain.
Yeah,
The
acts
cat's
just
got
like
the
him.
judgmental look going on.
Oh, yeah. But I loved this movie. I have yet to watch a Makoto Shinkai film that wasn't incredible.
Yeah.
So I give it I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8 too. It's not on your name, but I do like how now that I know that he does throw his old movie characters into it, I was like, that's awesome. So
He
yeah,
ties them all
definitely
in.
Ties more in.
It's like
Connected
Marvel for
universe.
anime.
Mhm.
They're all
Mhm.
connected.
I have a 7.8 on this one.
Nice. What did you give your name?
9.7.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7.8. So what could have got it? What was in this movie that was missing from your name?
I feel like it was a lot of the same tropes. They kind of your name was like I said it before we started recording today. Your name in this movie were essentially the same storyline. I mean, it was essentially some Japanese folklore that was making it into the real world in current day. Some sort of tragedy happens, and the characters have to make a choice and sacrifice either themselves or their love to potentially save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it didn't hit as hard. Like Your Name, I have no problem admitting I was crying my eyes out, bawling the entire time. Just could not get, like, it was as bad as whenever I watched, what was it called? Assassination Classroom for the first time, where it's just like, I couldn't freaking get over it. And
Never
then
finished it. I need to.
this one, it was just like, it was still good. The animation is still very
Yeah.
pretty, but they didn't change enough. I wish that if they were going to go the route they went with, her getting rescued at the end, that they would have given us a little more time with it, shown a little bit more of a happy ending for it.
Yeah,
Because I feel like we earned it with this one more so than with Your Name.
yeah, I can see that. Brennan, what do you rate this one?
I'd give it like a 7.7, just because
And this was your
I'm
second
trying not
time watching
to
it.
push out the animation because it's good because Shinkai did it. So like just based off storyline and enjoyment to watch, like I wasn't itching to watch this one again. Like whenever I watched Your Name and you guys were gonna watch it, I was like, fuck yeah, I get to watch it again
Yeah,
for
that's true.
the podcast.
Like,
I mean, it was good, but it's not. I don't think like people that don't like anime, I don't think they would necessarily enjoy this movie and the themes of the movie as much as like Your Name.
I agree.
It's a little more out
I would
there.
watch Your Name again and Garden of Words again before this one, but I don't say that to like notch this one down. Like this is still a
Yeah.
great movie.
It's a good ride.
Yeah,
Keeps you on your toes.
it is.
And I'll say that for some reason I think like Garden of Words is my favorite one he animated. Like
It's
just the look
because
of the
it's
movie.
so short. I feel like he could do a better job.
I don't know. Yeah, just something. He's good at animating the rain. I've noticed how he draws it when it hits the ground, which I like. I don't know. I think Garden of Words just based off purely watching is my favorite one that he's animated. Your Name the best, obviously, in totality.
Weathering with You, the name of it.
He's
fitting,
got
but
he's got a
also-
way with his titles. They're
Yeah.
always perfect.
Yeah.
His
Literally.
endings are perfect for me. Like the way he ties in the music to when it ends.
I think
And
that had a lot to do
he brings
with
in the name of the movie at the end. Like it's the first thing he
And the
shows. White
beginning.
background, black letters. It's Weathering with You. He did the same thing in Your
Ah,
Name.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I love the Radwimps, but I think a lot of the similarities also came from the soundtrack because it had all the same vibes as Your Name.
Oh, exact same.
And not to say the Radwimps didn't do a good job, but like you were saying how it seemed eerily similar. I think that fed into that as well.
Well, the part where Taki's and Mitsuha are running, and then the part where he's running on the tracks, it was like the
Yeah.
build up
Mhm.
to the climax. Like it was
It's weird to
very.
complain about because I love both those scenes, but it's just like made them feel the
Mhm.
same.
It doesn't have the same amount of punch the second time.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He he didn't carbon copy your name, but it's in the exact same.
Which is weird because I've seen
class.
Weathering with You first, and then I'm like, it's copying
Yeah.
your name.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Weathering with You?
Worth a watch.
Definitely.
If you
Yes,
like anime
everybody.
movies.
I hope you watched it before listening to us talk about it. But even if you did not watch it and you heard us talk about it, you should still watch it. Let us know what you think. Message us on Instagram at That Anime Podcast. Now we are going to talk about anime training techniques. So we have all come prepared with 1 or 2 training techniques that characters used to get stronger, overcome obstacles, things of that nature. So this should be a pretty fun one. I'm interested to see which ones you guys came up with. Who wants to go first?
I'll go because I picked some standard ones that everybody's going to be pretty familiar with just because I wanted to make sure some light was shown on them.
All right, what's your first
The
one?
first one is just, shoot, I guess that could have been one too, but that's not my favorite training style. Not the hyperbolic time chamber, but just whenever they would use gravity, like 100 times gravity, like Goku, Vegeta.
The capsule?
Yeah, when they would turn up the gravity just to get faster, stronger.
Shoot, Vegeta trains in 450 times.
I know, but the first time they did it, Goku, on his way to Namek, he got hella stronger by training in gravity.
Yeah, it was just 100.
Well, and
I think that's what he got up to, but then remember Yamcha.
King Kai's planet was a higher gravity. That's how he got
they had to
stronger.
get used to it.
Yeah.
And then Yamcha, whenever he was trying to show it Vegeta, because he liked Bulma still, remember when he like turned it on, he was like stuck on the ground and had to crawl.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just like a short one, but it's always like made sense too. Like,
Well,
'cause
it's
like training with
applicable
weights
to real life.
Yeah.
It's the concept of like every single movement is more difficult. And so when you take away that restraint, it's like going from being in water all the time to being on land.
Well, hilariously, that's actually very likely to cause injury, training like that. Because
Like training with heavy things on
training
you.
with like heavy weights on you, because it essentially makes your joints ready for that amount of weight to be, something you're imparting for like a punch or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so they tense differently, and you can actually like hyperextend your joints like really easily by doing that.
Okay. I have heard that it's like, because I remember back
water
when I
training.
played.
If you're underwater, it's actually supposed to be less damage on
Yeah, I
your...
wonder if
like
gravity
professional
training
soccer-
is different.
Gravity training is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
gravity training. The water training is
not so
actually
bad.
easier on the joints.
Yeah.
Okay.
But shit, if you got sand bones and tendons, you're probably good.
Because I remember whenever I was young, people on like my youth football teams, back when like ankle weights like were first coming out, people would wear them, and then like 3 years later it came out like it's bad to train with those things on.
Oh yeah.
Like our quarterback for our team was literally practicing with ankle weights on, like 3-pound ankle weights to get faster. Like the whole practice.
Which one? Turner?
No, like
No,
this is
it'd be like
middle,
youth.
like youth football, like 6th grade,
Oh.
like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, gravity training was actually one that I thought of too, and
It's a simple one too. It's just like they got the tech.
it seems like we should have like places where you could do this as an athlete, like take away 2% of gravity.
I would
or
want to do
increase
it because
We-
gravity already pushes us down and we get shorter every day, and then we like regrow at night when our spine little things. So we'd be coming out like 2 inches shorter.
Yeah,
So
but like
getting shoved
not
down.
like enough to where it's not detrimental to your bone density or anything. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
it's more difficult. It's like altitude training, because the opposite is also bad. Like people that go to space for long periods of time,
They get taller.
they get back to Earth though, and their bone density is
Yeah,
like
they're effed up.
sponge.
Yep.
Like they zoom in on their bones and they literally have giant holes because there was no need for the body to
Your body
harden
adapts
them.
really, really quickly to things.
Yeah.
No, actually, so the science behind that is really interesting, because did you know we actually don't have an observable way to observe gravity other than to drop something. Like we cannot like observe a particle or anything
Yeah.
like that shows gravity. So for us to manipulate it is essentially not possible right now. Now, if you were to do something like you wore a mesh suit that was all metal and you were to go over a magnet kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it pulled down on you, sure, you could kind of simulate the
Yeah.
same thing, but it still wouldn't be the same.
That's a
because
good point.
It wouldn't be so when you fall, your center of gravity changes and it moves, with a magnet, it's always the same no matter where you're at. You'll fall straight down.
Yeah, we'd have
You
to
can't
like
fall forward.
we'd have to like harness the power of a black hole to be able to control gravity, essentially.
Essentially, that's the kind of tech you're talking about for that.
So also in Dragon Ball has a lot of like applicable to real life. I mean, gravity training isn't applicable, but like the turtle shell training
Oh yeah.
that
When
they
they
did
were
with
kids.
Master Roshi,
Yeah.
like just wearing something heavy on your back and then taking it off, and now you can jump 5 times as high.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with mine, because I'm going with just a shout out to Guts and Berserk. As Guts was training when he was younger, mine was he trained with swords twice his size.
Oh,
And
Swing him harder.
yeah, he was been doing it since he was 6 years old from his dad, who was abusive to him. But he's been doing that his whole life. And if you know Guts, he carries a big sword with him anyway.
What's that
He's
sword
been
even
doing that his
called?
whole life. I don't know what it's called, but it's a big ass sword. But that's what I was going for. Just like basically weight training your whole life, so when you're actually doing it, it's actually easy for you.
yeah.
The Rock Lee method.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the weight training. It makes a difference, especially if you like. Rock Lee wore those things. We're guessing all the time,
Oh yeah.
and
Under
he was
his
never
little
allowed to take them off.
Shivers, his little leg sleeves.
Yeah,
I actually did that training when I was working for the city back a while back.
mm-hmm.
I would actually wear a 150-pound weight vest over my chest, and I would wear about 5 pounds on each wrist and about 10 pounds on each leg. And I would just be walking around at that place, and I would be sweating through everything.
Oh yeah.
But I found out that was like, you're not wrong. It's like really bad for your joints. And so I ended up stopping it. But yeah, they were like, yeah, other than that, that's a great way to get really strong really quickly, but it will wreck your joints.
Dang. See, I box, and so occasionally I have a 12-pound vest that I'll put on, and then I also have fat grips that I wrap around my dumbbells whenever I do like anything with dumbbells, and those increase. Like if you're holding a 20-pound weight with the fat grips, it doesn't feel like 20 pounds anymore, because instead of holding a bar that's like the size of a quarter, you're holding a bar that's like the size of a Coke can.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just like increases it. But then when you take those things off, it makes it feel so much lighter. So it's kind of like goes back to the theory of relativity, where if you're used to something that's really difficult and then all of a sudden you take that away, you're going to have an advantage over somebody that isn't used to that being their normal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you were going to fight somebody that's only ever practiced with fighting with gloves off, like bare fist
Mhm.
boxing, and then you train with boxing gloves on, which typically weigh anywhere from 14 to 16 ounces,
Shoot.
and then you
Training-wise,
barefoot box, your
Fight
hands
gloves are way lighter than that.
I mean, yeah, professionals but they don't train with
Yeah,
8
they
ounce.
you train heavier, and then
Yeah,
you
you
wear
train
like
heavier,
6
and then
ounce
you-
gloves.
But like if you train every day with 16-ounce gloves and then you
Yeah.
take them off and you fight somebody in
Throw
the
hands
streets,
faster.
you're gonna throw your hands are gonna be way faster
Yeah.
than your boy.
It's like that guy in Baki I'm looking up. Jack Hammer, he punches it back for 12 hours straight just for his training. You know how
Yeah.
bloody your hands would be?
Oh yeah,
Well, speaking as someone who's when I was training with my sensei, he had me running a bag for like 6 minutes straight.
oh that's tough,
Dude, I can't imagine 12.
dude.
Like,
Just the act
ugh.
of holding your arms up, and even if you're literally going 1, 2, doing that for 6 minutes, I promise you, anybody listening, if you think that sounds easy, try it. Just try standing in one spot for 6 minutes and throwing a punch, left, right.
Even
left,
if it's just like
right.
every 2 seconds throwing one punch, I legitimately would end up like it's not an exaggeration when I say it was a puddle of my own sweat.
Oh yeah, your shoulders are going to burn. That's a good one, Brennan. Gravity training, Goku style. I have that too. Vegeta's training style and the gravity, Master Roshi's turtle shell.
Good to save us some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, that's basically what mine is. More weight added to what you're training, and then
Yeah.
All right, which one did you bring, Jesse?
I brought Kenichi, World's Mightiest Disciple.
Kenichi.
I brought his training method, which was they essentially say at the very beginning of his series that he has exactly 0 affinity for martial arts. Like he loves martial arts, but he is ass at it. Can't do anything. And so they tell him right from the beginning, they go, the only way to ever get you above a novice level is to put you into life-threatening situations. And so like literally the first training they do with him is they put these little teacups in his hand that weigh like 10 pounds and they make him hold them out to the side. And they put knives underneath his arms so that if he drops his arms, they'll stab himself. And
Dude,
he
that's
also
like the Unsullied method from Game of Thrones. Like, they take your fear, and like if you have a fear of water, they
No
dump
fear.
you in the ocean. If you live, good. If you die, good. Either way, your fear is gone.
So funny because they literally they put like freaking little like teacups on his legs, and he has to get into a squat position. So if he gets too high, the teacups spill, and he gets hit with a stick. If he goes too low, there's a red hot poker sitting underneath his ass. And so if he goes too low, he's getting his ass poked by a red hot poker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
Getting
one,
penetrated.
I've
Literally
seen
the hot
it.
rod.
some clips of Kenichi, and there's one like he's doing sit-ups over a fire, like hanging, and he has to keep doing sit-ups so he doesn't get burned by the fire.
They call it the octopus workout, and it's literally the guy is fanning the fire to make it just high enough so it's burning him.
Yeah.
And he's literally switching from doing the back crunch to doing the forward crunch and back and forth. And he goes, as long as you keep moving back and forth, you'll be fine. And he goes, but if I stop too long, I'm gonna burn. And he goes, yes.
Yeah, that's the point. So what would you call
Exactly.
that kind of training? Like scare tactic training?
It's not even that. It's high. I'd call it HIIT, honestly.
Oh yeah, high intensity interval.
It's high intensity interval. They literally push him to his absolute breaking point. Then they give him a rest for about an hour. And then they
But it's
do it
like
again.
it's motivated by scare tactics.
Well, it's motivated by him having to enter a fight or flight mode, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
basically,
that's
he's
what
doing
I want.
something
Fight or
he's
flight
never
training.
done. Yeah, fight or flight. Yeah.
Which legitimately is not a terrible way to train. It's just really stressful. So if you can't handle the stress, it can be, detrimental to your heart and your mind that way. But
Yeah.
Well, that's it. In a lower method, that's kind of how it is. Even like in football, like coaches just yell at your ass for like a couple days in practice to put the pressure. So then when it's like Friday night or Saturday day during the game,
You're numb to it.
Yeah, you're numb to the pressure because they try to put you under this pressure in fear of running gassers
true.
or something.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so far we've covered two that are pretty, like, you could use in real life. So Brennan's was resistance training, essentially, which is probably the most popular form of training in the world for men.
Yeah,
Resistance training.
Definitely, yeah.
And then flight or flight training, I'm not military, but they may use stuff like that in the military.
yeah, it's
Actual-
probably more badasses probably use
SEALs
that
do
kind of
it.
training.
Yeah, SEALs do it,
and-
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even real martial arts teachers will use it because not like to that extreme of like being getting.
I mean,
cut or
Demon Slayer,
whatever.
they do it. Here's a mountain, go up there, you gotta last a week.
Exactly.
Shit,
Kill
he's
the
got,
demons
he's
and
got
survive.
traps and shit that could kill him.
If
on
you
his way up
live,
and down,
you're in the Demon Corps.
Pretty much.
Right.
Demon Slayer Corps.
Yeah, that's like what's his name, the water pillar. Well, you guys haven't gotten there. Never
Yeah.
mind.
yeah,
Um,
CTFO on that.
Colton, did you have anything other than resistance?
I didn't get to look into it too much, but mine was basically just heavy ass weight training, and then able to swing a sword that's not quite as big as what you've been swinging and moving faster. So yeah, basically resistance.
All right, so I just thought of one before I talk about my primo, and I'm surprised that any of us didn't think of this one. So our boy Saitama's training
yeah.
regimen,
I wanted to do that one in
super
real
applicable
life.
to
What
real
is it,
life.
10 kilometers, 100 push-ups,
Oh,
100 sit-ups.
Did you see the guy that did it?
Yeah, he's like getting nosebleeds
Well,
from
no,
running too much.
Well, that
Well, there's like hundreds of dudes that have
What
done
is
it.
What is
Yeah.
10 kilometers?
It's
like
100
5 miles.
push-ups,
That's a lot every single day.
100
no rest.
sit-ups, 100 squats, and
It's really closer to like it's really
I think it
closer to
is
like 6 miles.
10
though.
kilometer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can maybe do it and do 3 miles a day, but
so 10 kilometers is 6.2
Yeah.
or 6.4 miles.
hmm
so I mean, if you even ran 5 a day and did that shit, you'd get pretty ripped as long as you ate semi decent. I
Yeah,
think.
100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 100 push-ups, and 10 kilometers every day, no rest.
Yeah, I've walked 2 10Ks in my life, and they wrecked me for about a week after.
Saitama was running those daily.
Yeah, and I was like,
Followed, but after 100 push-ups, 100
100
squats,
squats,
100
and
sit-ups.
sit-ups.
So I can see why he lost his hair. Maybe you guys, what if we did that for like 3 months and like?
I've
film
wanted
ourselves?
to. We should, but we'd have to modify the running part. There's no way we could maybe do like 2 miles a day.
and I mean, you could
Your
get
body
up
would
to
be-
10K, probably.
I mean, you can
6
do
miles.
it, but there's no way I could do it right now. I could walk out and run
there's been
10K
YouTube
just
people
fine.
who
We'd
have
be
done it,
destroyed
and they just
tomorrow.
said-
But I couldn't do it 7 days in a row.
Right.
Well, and that's what I was like. If you built up to it, eventually, I think you'd be able to
Yeah.
to do it.
Because I've watched
daily,
people
but-
who've done it on YouTube, like they do workout inspired anime things, and he goes, the running, it just became too much for you.
Oh yeah.
Because you
That's
could
what
do
I'm
the
saying. We
100
can modify
squats
to
and sit-up,
3,
yeah.
and it's manageable. Because you can run 3 miles in like 25 minutes,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that, but even just the 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups every day, your soreness it would take like 3 weeks for your soreness to go
I've done
away.
it for like a week before. I would just break it up into sets of 25, so it's only 4 sets. So I do 4 sets of 25 push-ups, squats, crunches. If you break it up like that, it's really
But then the
almost
next day
not
you're
enough.
sore, and then you're doing it again while you're still sore.
I've done
And
it
then
before.
you're doing it again while you're still sore.
Your body adjusts fast.
Yeah. I
Shit,
mean, it
remember
would
when we
take
did
a
that
couple
push-up
weeks.
challenge at work?
Yeah.
Like I did a couple a day, and by the end, I did 100.
Yeah, I
think
can't
my
remember what I
starting
got
point was
to.
like 60, and in a month time, I was able to go up 40. So your muscles will adapt fast.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
especially like if you have muscle memory.
So that's a good training. I mean, I'm not saying we're committing to doing the Saitama training, but it'd be fun to do
No, we're
one
fucking
day.
doing it.
Let's do it for a week till next.
No, we have to at least do it for 30 days.
You got to do it
30
for at
days.
least 2 months to get results.
No, we could do it for 30.
We can do a month. Start today.
I would only want to do a 1 mile run though, because I don't. Whenever I run too much, it makes my legs too skinny. I don't like having skinny legs.
We could maybe do like 1 and then 3, 1 and 3, just to like keep the miles up, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so I called dibs on this one in the group text. So my favorite training style of all anime I've ever watched, and probably my favorite character of all time, is Might Guy. Because of his positivity and just his outlook on life. You know, he's always talking about the power of youth, and that's what motivates him. But his training style is called self-rule. And so basically what he does is he creates an obstacle for himself that's impossible. And if he can't create he can't complete that obstacle that he just created for himself, he'll create another one as a punishment for himself. So he'll say, I'm going to do 500 laps around this village on my hands 500 times. And if I can't, I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups on my fingers. So either way, he's getting stronger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then if he doesn't do the 500 laps and he gets to 1,000 push-ups, he'll say, if I can't do these 1,000 push-ups, I'll do 10,000 jumping jacks. And so because of that training method over the course of his entire life, that is what led him to be who Madara called the strongest.
And that shit all rubbed off on Rock Lee too. If I
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
do 1,000 kicks, then it will be 100 punches.
Yeah, the self-rule
like,
was passed
train.
down. Because Might Guy's
Yeah, his
father is the
dad,
one who
mustache.
created the self-rule
Yeah.
training method.
And then even in the tuning exams, Roxley's like, if I cannot catch all these leaves before they hit the ground, you know, he tries to catch them all.
Yeah.
They always just giving themselves those little things.
Yeah. I try to do the self-rule whenever I'm training, and it's tough. It's tough to give yourself an obstacle that you know you can't do, and then give yourself another one that you know you can't do.
I give myself like mini ones. Sometimes when I'm running, I'll be like, all right, if I can make it back to this point, then I can walk the rest of the way. But
Yeah.
it'll be like a pretty far point, and then I'm like, shit, shouldn't have made it that far.
I think another reason why Might Guy was so strong in his training style is because his training style was laser focused, where all of the other shinobi were like manifesting their jutsus in, what are those called?
Genjutsu.
Like genjutsus. He was just focused on taijutsu.
Yeah.
Ninjutsu.
And so he became the very best at one thing instead of okay or great at everything. He was
Could
the
Guy
best at
use
taijutsu.
Ninjutsu.
No.
He couldn't either. Just basically.
They never
why-
actually come out and say that until it gives a flashback, though, but you kind of just assume.
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why they always assumed that Rock Lee was his son. Even
Yeah.
though that was
That's
true-
why he
proved
took
not
a
to be
liking
true.
to Rock Lee, because he
Yeah.
saw his determination and that he also couldn't use,
And that he had bushy brows.
like his dad.
The same eyebrows, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, the self-rule training is probably my favorite, just because it's like, it's real. That's real life stuff. You could do that right
Yeah.
now. You could say anything. I'm gonna hit this bag 300 times, and if I can't do it, I'm gonna run a mile.
It's a never-ending cycle.
It's a never-ending cycle to where even if you lose, you get stronger
Mm-hmm.
because you're giving yourself these unattainable tasks in a sense. But then one day, like Might Guy, he was able to start doing the things because he wanted to challenge Kakashi as a kid, but he knew Kakashi was way stronger than him. So he gave himself the task of, I'm going to do 5,000 laps around the village.
On his
And-
hands.
Now he did that.
I know,
on
but
his-
they did that
But
sometimes.
yeah, he did do it on his hands. And when I do that, I'll challenge Kakashi. And so he finally did it. But all through effort.
I'd still rather be a Kakashi type ninja.
Yeah, me too.
I like to have the jutsu in the arsenal.
Oh yeah,
Just in
Kakashi trained
case.
hard too. He was climbing up that mountain with one hand.
Yeah, he did. He trained hard too, which gets glossed over a lot.
Yeah, he was talented like Sasuke, but I feel like Sasuke was like, I don't feel like he trained very hard. He kind of just had the Uchiha blood and was good at everything right away.
Oh, he's kind of like Vegeta. He like only trains. That's all he cared. When he was with Orochimaru, that's all he did is just train.
Yeah, for 3 years.
Like trained
Yeah.
literally. It just didn't show his training arcs. Like he was just more of like he just
They didn't really
said
show
he trained
Naruto,
and then he would
well.
just have new jutsu.
I guess
Yeah.
they kind of did, but not with Jiraiya. I mean, you get the time
True.
skip.
Because even when
But he did train with him while he was
so I
gone.
kind of wanted to talk about Naruto's shadow clone training, just because I thought that was good. And whenever he came back from with Jiraiya, I feel like he was still kind of weak, anyways. Like he didn't
Yeah.
show any like
He had a lot of growth.
His
after.
growth was more mental during.
yeah. But in that
during
arc,
phase.
the what's the Gara, what's it? The Kazekage retrieval arc.
Mhm.
I feel like Naruto was annoying and like still his old self. Like he got heated chasing Datara and like
Yeah.
got under Genjutsu against that fake Itachi body, which is his only kill in all of Naruto.
Oh yeah.
But it's debatable whether that guy was already dead or how that works.
So what was the training that he did for the
Remember, he
Shadow
would like
Clones?
clone himself, and that's how he'd like try to rip the leaf. So it was like he was getting 1,000 reps at
Oh,
once.
yeah.
So it enhanced his.
Training.
And he also did it when he trained to become a sage too.
That was genius. I remember that.
Yeah.
He's getting all that
Well,
experience.
he
with
was-
more
See, and the
shadow
thing
clones.
about Naruto is like he's so simple-minded that only he could think of something so
No,
simple.
Kakashi
Kakashi
thought
was
of
the
it.
one that taught
Oh,
him.
Kakashi.
And
was the
Naruto
one?
was like, "You dirty dog! That's how you got so strong." He was like, "I actually can't do this training. You're the only one who can."
Well, like, and that the whole thing was that they said that nobody except for like the second Hokage and then Kakashi after him had noticed the effects of shadow clones that they seem to retain. You seem to retain the knowledge after the clone returned to
Because
you.
it was initially a forbidden jutsu, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The
Shadow
multi-shadow clone, where
That's-
you
Well,
do like
you know,
1,000.
Kakashi did it because Kakashi did it in the
I want to know why it was forbidden.
classroom when he was a
Because of that.
kid. He did a multi-shadow clone.
Yeah, he can, but he can't train like that.
Oh.
Like he didn't have enough chakra reserves to even make 4 of himself, and them all use chakra.
Oh,
Yeah,
It
they
okay.
said that
depletes.
he could only use he could use 10
Yeah,
for about like a 5-minute fight, and that would put him at 0.
so as I'm
Okay.
saying, like Naruto can literally do 1,000, do the training, and come back together and still do more. So for someone like Kakashi, it would be pointless to do it because then he'd be done for the day. It's better just to train
Yeah,
as
they
one
even-
person.
They even said during that arc, what is it? Naruto had like 7 times the amount or 6 times the amount
Yeah,
of
like-
chakra that just base without Kurama, at all.
Dang.
He
And
has
that's
like,
when
an
I feel like he actually
insane
had
amount.
growth too. Like whenever he was training for the Rasen Shuriken,
Yeah.
because it was right after they saw Sasuke, and he was pretty much stronger than Yamato, probably on par with like Kakashi, just already.
You know what I'm
Right out of the
noticing a theme
gates.
here is that the best shonen anime, what separates the men from the boys in regards to the show is the training arcs. Like, do they just get strong because we're supposed to believe they did? Or are you going to show us how they got there? Because all of the best shows that I'm thinking about
Put in the
and the
work.
ones we're talking about, they showed us our characters and how they got to be that
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z.
Well, the thing with
Naruto,
One
My
Piece,
Hero
One
My
Punch,
Hero,
I'll
My
say-
Hero.
Saitama.
I don't think Luffy's training art, when he got Haki finally, you watch One Piece, right? I thought it was pretty lit. Like whenever they went to Fishman Island, he got to flex. But when they flash back to his actual training, it's not that.
But like
not that interesting.
Baki,
Well,
King and Ashura.
I mean, it's cool, but it's not as good
Has
as
he
like.
even gotten anything past 4th gear yet?
So I'm caught up on the manga.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm season 1, y'all.
I know, like, I don't
I'm still
watch
at
it,
the
but I
Kingdom of
know his
Wano.
power leveling scale still, for the most part.
But- and that's the thing is they've kind of kept they've kind of been taking some time now in the last few chapters to deepen our understanding of hockey, and it's something Oda announced a long time ago that he was going to do during the Wano arc.
Mm-hmm.
Was that he was like, yeah, we're going to kind of deepen
That's right
y'all's
where I'm at.
understanding of exactly how hockey works, what the limitations are of certain types of hockey. Because I don't know if you guys have seen like the stuff online from the Katakuri fight on Big Mom stuff.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
They
Dragged out
talked-
like all of them, but yeah, it was lit.
They talked about a lot of how that was him learning more about observation hockey.
Yep.
And it was just a lot
It
about
was.
him not understanding us as an audience, not understanding the limitations that hockey places on the body or what those limitations can be exceeded by. And then this arc was more about armament hockey. We learned a little bit more about that and the way it worked and how you could better utilize it. And now just recently we're starting to learn a little bit more about Conqueror's hockey and what it's doing and how it's going to turn different. And it's
y'all
like,
don't know shit about that. And anybody who doesn't know
literally
shit
every
about
word
that,
you're saying, I've never heard.
basically
of it.
they make
Never heard of
they
it.
make their skin black and it's really hard, and then you can damage anything, even
Yeah,
like
I know
a
he
certain
could do
type
that
of
in his gear. Like, he
Logia
could move
users.
around to certain parts of his body to make it hard.
And then the Conqueror's hockey is like not everybody has it, only like a select few. And you
So
can
how did
literally
he get it? How did
you can literally
Lucy?
just put people down.
You're born with it. It's a genetic thing that it's not something you can train for. The other two you can train for those, like to just awaken them and then use them. Anyone can.
So he was born with it.
But
Lucy.
but
but
Luffy's
there's
got
only
it.
like they say like 10 every generation are born with Conqueror's hockey.
Freaking Doflamingo's got it,
Mm-hmm.
and then probably a couple other people. But you can
that was
basically
a good fight.
you can basically sleep people without even touching them.
Yeah. Do you remember the Fishman Island arc where
Yeah.
they talked, or where he did the thing where he released it and he knocked out 50,000 people?
Yeah,
They actually discussed Shanks. If he had been there, he not only would have knocked out every one of the 100,000 people there, but he would also have knocked out every last fishman on the island
Shanks is
and
the best
in the
swordsman.
surrounding areas.
red-haired Shanks.
He's the best one.
No, that's Hawkeye Mihawk is the best swordsman. Shanks the red-haired guy that gave him the straw hat.
And Shanks
that's right.
Shanks is legitimately
Shanks is his brother, right?
No,
His
just
Father
brother.
figure.
father.
he's
Yeah.
just he's more like a father figure. Legitimately though, Shanks is they've talked about power scaling in that. It's not comparable currently. Like even with the
He's
current arc
the,
he's in where
So
he's getting
what kind of training?
He's
does
the
Luffy
first
do?
one that used
What-
Conqueror's
what
hockey, I think, where
Does
they're
Lu-
like, if you don't have your medal, you can't be around him.
Correct.
And they're like, what? And then he like walked on the boat to meet with Whitebeard, and like
Yeah.
all those people passed out, but we
And-
didn't know what it was at the time.
And legitimately, you started seeing like the ship below him and the sky above them start cracking underneath the pressure that they were putting on it. Like the other stuff's physical; you can see it when it happens. This stuff is so like some of these guys are so proficient with Conqueror's hockey that it actually physically affects the world around them.
I wish I knew what you guys were talking
It's
about.
interesting stuff. It's when it gets
So-
good. You have to keep going.
I couldn't do it the way you're talking about doing it, where you're like you started at episode 1, you're just watching it all the way through.
Yeah.
When I started, that was back when Fishman Island had just started in the anime. Not like that was like 6 years ago now. And I was like, okay, that's 600 episodes. I'm not watching 600 episodes of this anime to get caught up. So I went online, looked up Wikipedia, and I legitimately went through and read every arc because they have it condensed down to essentially a 2-page summary.
Okay.
And it was much faster, got me caught up. And then once I got caught up, then I started reading or watching the anime, reading the manga, and
it gets really good at
gotcha.
Fishman Island too after the time skip.
Yeah, I've just accepted it's gonna be like a 4 or 5 year watch for me.
Yeah,
just
I'd go.
slowly.
I did it that way
at least
too.
that long.
Yeah.
Go through it that way. There's
See,
some good moments.
I got into it right when they got to like, he's like a bat and he's on an island and the zombies are coming.
Moria. That's
freaking Thriller
the
Bark.
Thriller
Okay,
Bark,
that's
yeah.
as far as
That's
I
the
got.
worst arc to me.
That is legitimately the
I
worst
hate
arc in
Thriller
the
Bark.
series.
That's as far as I got.
Whose phone is that? Oh.
Alright.
It's like, is that mine?
Thriller Bark and Punk Hazard. I'm not a huge fan of those arcs. Punk Hazard's short at least.
Do you guys know of any other training styles that are worth mentioning? So I can't think of any
I'm
besides
sure there's a bunch,
Saitama's
but
and
yeah.
Might Guys.
I liked the slow progression that was done on this. This was actually the one I was going to bring up. Was didn't I say make my abilities average in the next life? It's an isekai that's kind of
I've seen it where they just. Usually, when you're an isekai, you go back and you're like power scaling things off the charts compared to other
and for this
characters.
girl, for the main character, it is. But because her whole thing was she didn't want to be extraordinary when she got isekai'd. She wanted to be average. She wanted to be normal because in her previous life, she was too smart for her own good.
Not me.
And so she
I'm
couldn't
going-
make
I wanna go
friends
full
really easily.
power.
Yeah, and so she was like, hey, make my abilities average. Well, the god that sent her over there didn't understand that average meant, for humans. So he made her the average of the strongest creature in the world and the weakest creature in the world. So she has half the strength of a chaos dragon. And so in order to make herself a little less standoutish and to kind of earn her friends, she trained her friends. And her friends did this like very slow step increase of like, she taught them a little bit. And then once they got a decent mastery of that, it's more of kind of the way this training was more of like what you would consider like normal for like schools, where like you learn a little bit. Once you understand that, you learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
This
curriculum
is
style.
Exactly. And they just did that, and I like the way they did it in that one. They did it and kind of showed considerable change over the course of 4 years.
Dang. Sounds cool.
What show is that on? I think that's on Funimation.
It's on Crunchyroll.
I'm gonna have to put that on the list.
All right, I think it sounds like we're nearing
Quick
the end.
shout
of
out,
this one.
cleaning up the beach and then eating someone's hair. Good training art.
Yeah.
Which one?
Deku. Remember he like cleaned the beach and would like flex his ass in his school chair.
Oh yeah.
And then he just had to eat the hair, but he had to get his body prepared to be able to take All Might.
Yeah, I
his
forgot
DNA.
about that.
What's that?
So that's like a form of resistance
And
training.
then watching movies is also a good training arc.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
That was a hilarious training arc.
Yeah. See, the best shows have training arcs, and ones like King and Ashura, Baki, Sestives that I'm watching. There's the fights and there's growth with the fighters, but how did they get
in
stronger?
Baki, they start off with the second season. They completely skip the championship where Baki's actually.
But
won
still,
the
he
martial arts
wants to get
tournament.
stronger than his dad, and they never show him actually training. They don't show
Baki-
any of the people ever train.
Yeah.
They're just strong.
They're already strong.
Yeah, so I always
I
got
mean,
to
you
talk about.
You get flashbacks of it, but yeah, not.
But you
enough to
can't invest in a
satisfy.
character if you didn't see their hard work.
Yeah.
That's accurate, yeah.
I haven't talked about Haikyuu yet, but they actually go to camps. They have full like parts of seasons where it's committed to their training,
Yeah.
their betterment. Like they don't just pull out the freak quick. They don't pull out like the new one where Kageyama drops it in
Yeah.
and he opens his eyes. Like
Practice
they actually
Rolling
go through
Thunder.
it and fucking suck at things. They're like
Mm-hmm.
Asahi's new spike hits the net.
So that's like they're doing it what we could call experience training.
Yeah, they actually mindfully like I want to learn this move, or like Nishinoya wants to do the set from the back line.
Oh,
We
the
used to, like,
float?
Do you watch Haikyuu?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say.
where he like jumps the line, he sets it himself.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the libero. Just like all that stuff, they like mindfully like see someone do it and they want to accomplish it and they do it in their next. Because it usually goes match, training arc, and then some of the like all of season 2 is at that camp and they're just training the whole time
Yeah.
and they never even win a single match like the whole time.
That's why, yeah, all of the best shows, it's all about the training arcs because that's what gives you the payoff for like what the show's actually about.
Yeah.
Like we need to see the characters and the work that they put in to believe and make this cartoon and fictional thing feel real.
Especially when you see him fail at it more times than you see him succeed, and then when they finally get it, it pays off for you too.
Yep, it does. That was a good one. I didn't even think of sports anime.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any slice of life training arcs we can? How did Futaro-kun get all of the girls to?
I mean, what about Food Wars?
I feel like Soma's just a prodigy, but he did learn.
But he learns
studied.
from other
But he had to
people's
study.
study.
Yeah.
Especially whenever he
No,
beat the
you-
Spice guy.
You did see him train. Before battles, he would train all night.
Yeah, you're
before
right.
going
He
in.
would.
Mm-hmm.
He was good at cooking, yeah, but he did train a lot.
Yeah, I guess early on he's just kind of like I'll fuck anybody up, but then
Right.
once he gets further in, there's like people.
His
that-
training is experience learning too. He tastes somebody else's thing and he makes his own iteration of it.
Yeah,
And he just continues to grow because
and he likes
he's
to
able
make
sell
that
those new
nasty ass
stars,
food too for some reason. Him and his
which
dad.
is just so funny.
Yeah. Great
Substance
stuff.
over.
All right. Well, Jesse, thank you for joining us. Everybody go follow him on Instagram, Twitter, all the platforms at the Binge Reviewer. And you can also follow us on Instagram at That Anime Podcast. Hit us up with questions. Just give us a follow. If you have time, we would love a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts as well. That helps us climb the ranks. Thank you all for listening. This has been a long episode. I'm Jordo.
Brennan.
Colton.
We are the Evans Bros. Everybody have a great week and peace out.